Welcome to Destination Central, I'm Amy Forrest. Now, the region of Waikato is beginning to fill up fast with the thousands of people ready to attend the National Agricultural Field Days of 2014, which kicks off this Wednesday, the 11th of June. So we're going to be taking a look today at a few local businesses who are attending the Field Days to find out some pre-knowledge of their company so that you know exactly where to go when you first arrive at the Field Days. So let's take a look at the lineup. We take a look at effluent management with Reid and Harrison, find out about Jobe valves, increase profit with Herd Home Systems, take an Amarok for a spin with Volkswagen, and discover the process of StockRock. Now, the National Agricultural Field Days are held at the Mystery Creek Event Centre and are said to be one of the biggest agricultural trade shows in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's going to be huge, and it's not surprising with the amount of live displays and amazing things to see that someone is going to get lost. So, the Salvation Army have put up a missing persons tent. Now, this can be found on N Road, so make sure you jot that down. And they are also encouraging parents to write down a cell phone number on the children's arms, so it makes it a lot easier to relocate each other. Now, it's not just for the kids though, because we all know it's very easy to get distracted by those tractor pulls and the bachelors of the year. So it's also for the adults. You can also enjoy a nice hot cup of tea while you're there as well, which is great. So make sure that's your first stop when you arrive at the Field Days. Now, another really handy tip is the Field Days app. Now, you can download this onto your smartphone. And of course, it's got the access to all the timetables, it's got access to all the details of the companies, and a map, which is extremely handy. You don't have to fish around in your bag to find a big, large map. So make sure you download that as well. So now that the formalities are out of the way, let's take a look at our first business. Reid and Harrison have been in business for over 50 years and are synonymous for their yardmaster pumps in the dairy industry for effluent management. Now, they've just moved to their new site in Waihao Road, Matamata, which is around 10 times bigger than their previous Peria Road base. So today we're going to be taking a look at the new site and having a chat to business owner Seaton Daly to find out what's been happening with Reid and Harrison and yardmaster pumps. Let's go and find Seaton. First, let's take a tour of the premises to see what they're doing on such a large site. Now, we start off our tour in the office, which can only be described as spacious. With the use of wood furniture and fittings, it gives a lovely, comfortable feel. Besides the office space, it has a fully equipped boardroom, and a further area has been turned into a showroom for customers. This room has product as well as promotional displays, so the customer can get amongst the product with the obliging Reid and Harrison staff. Also attached to the adjoining factory building, there is a dedicated room for training. The Ken Reid room is named after the founder of the company and the inventor of the Yardmaster pump, the product the business is based on. Having full audio-visual capabilities and kitchen facilities, the Ken Reid room is a significant asset that is being used for staff and in future dealer training events. The ability to take people to site to learn and see the Yardmaster products is a real bonus to all involved. The manufacturing starts with the steel preparation area at the top of the fabrication shop. Let's take a look. The various items of equipment enable the cutting and forming of steel necessary for the fabrication process. The entire shop is served by 3 overhead gantries along the multiple swing arms. The ability to move the product quickly and safely through the manufacturing process is a massive advantage to the business. Now, once prepared, the steel moves through to the fabrication area. This is where the well-equipped area results in a quality manufacture process, through to the assembly area where the quality is again evaluated. Attached to this area is the specialised service facility. Customers can drive in undercover for their pumps to be safely unloaded by overhead gantry. The experienced staff will strip the pump and evaluate needed work to ensure the pump is fit for purpose on its return. In a lot of cases, this work is completed in the same day due to the urgency of the equipment's use on farms. The dispatch area is the final installation for motors and accessories, and is also the holding ground for finished spare parts for customers' needs. Now, the ability to have trucks drive through here and load and unload in a covered space is also a bonus. Now, attached to this site is the Reid and Harrison engineering business. Let's take a look. This sister company supplies key machined parts to the Yardmaster business as well as running its own general engineering operations. Fully equipped for general fabrication work and manual machining, the shop has capability to handle most needs of customers. It is a significant investment in the needs of its customers by ensuring they have the right equipment for the job. All this is backed by a reliable and hard-working bunch of people who really make the place hum. Let's have a chat to Seaton Daly, owner and director of Reid and Harrison. Now Seaton, the Yardmaster pump is well known in the industry, so why is it so successful?
Well, it's a simple design. We've got bearings that are out of the liquid. We've got no bearings or seals in the liquid. So the pump can run dry. It's designed for farmers to pump solids, to pump effluent out to irrigators.
Great, so how can people get in contact with you?
They can come and visit us. We're at 1 Waihouse Street, Matamata. Our phone number is 07888 8224. Our website is www.yardmaster-pumps.com, or you can come in and see us in the office.
So if you're passing through Matamata, I really do suggest you pop into the new building on Waihouse Street to see what the team at Reid and Harrison are up to. Well, it's shaping up to be a very interesting show, so make sure you tune in after the break as we head on through to Jobe Valves and Herd Home Systems. Jobe Valves in Matamata specialise in the manufacturing and distribution of float-operated valves for water troughs, tanks and systems. Let's hear from the expert, David Jobe. Hi David. Now, as a local Matamata business of nearly 50 years, can you tell me about the creation of Jobe Valves?
Okay, well, Jobe Valves as a product is a concept that Robin and my father, Jim, came up with when he set up business in Matamata back in 1967. It's, over the years it was quite a successful little product. But then in the 1990s we really decided to get stuck into it and started promoting the product more, and we redeveloped it and re-released it as our Mega Flow trough valve, and really since then the business took off.
Now, you've mentioned a couple of the valves. Can you talk us through each of the valves and their ideal uses?
Yeah, the Mega Flow valve, that's our dairy valve really. That's the valve we sell for dairy farmers all over New Zealand. Its main advantages is it's very compact, so it hasn't got a long arm on it to get broken off, and it lets out really high water flow. And it's got some really nice little features like our detach feature, which enables you to disconnect the valve and clean it out really easily. So that's the Mega Flow. We've also got the Rojo valve, which is it's smaller. It's the sort of valve you'd use in a lifestyle sort of situation. If you've got a trough and you've got a few animals that drink out of the trough, you don't need a lot of water, but it's still compact. It's still got some nice little features that make it easy to use. So that's the Rojo. We've got our Topaz valve, which is very similar to the Mega Flow, but it's made to be mounted above the water. And that's really the valve we export most of. We sell lots of Topaz valves overseas. And then we've got our Vortex range, which gives very high flow. Because the Mega Flow and Topaz give up to about 200 litres per minute, and the Vortex goes up to about 600 litres per minute. Great,
so David, where exactly is Jobe Valves based, and how can people get in contact with you?
Well, we're based here in Matamata. Generally, our products are available through a lot of rural retailers in most parts of the country. If for any reason you need to contact us, we're always happy to, if there's any problems, we're happy to hear from you. You can call us on 0800 Jobe Valves, our free phone number, or we've got our website, www.jobevalves.com. We've got our inquiry sheet on the website, so you can contact us like that. Or if you're coming to Matamata, you can come and see us.
And I hear you'll be at the Fieldays again this year.
Yeah, last year we won the award for the best site in the main pavilion, which we're very proud of. But yeah, we'll be in the same places we've been for the last few years, and we're looking forward to seeing any farmers, Jobe Valve users, anybody that comes along. We're looking forward to meeting up with them and having a chat at the Fieldays. It'll be great.
Great, thank you very much. So for a trusted brand in float-operated valves, call the team at Jobe Valves. Herd Home Systems have come up with an innovative way to protect your herd from the harsh weather extremes each year can bring. Let's find out what that solution is with Hamish McMillan. Hi Hamish, so first of all, where did the idea begin to create herd home shelters?
The idea came out of a farming couple in Northland actually, Tom and Kathy Powell. It came out after Tom and Kathy, they won a Grasslands Award about 12-15 years ago or so. And so Tom went off to the UK to preach about getting people out of housing and out of barns and onto grass. He then came home, good Northland winter, mud everywhere, and his wife said to him, either we solve this wintering problem or we sell something. So Tom went back to the UK to explore again with the idea about we need somewhere to stand cows off. And the first one of these came out in about 12 years ago. And from then it's just growing. First one was sold to a neighbour and then they've just grown in clusters.
What a great story. I'm sure there's a lot of farmers that can resonate with that. So tell me a bit more about the herd home shelters and the options available.
So really what we've got is a building. When Tom came back from the UK, there were some things that he wanted. One is he wanted the building inside to be as dry as possible, which is why the clear roof was a must-have. Okay. The second thing he wanted is he wanted it to be as easy to operate and as simple to operate. So you'll note that as a rule we've got no electronics because we tend to find when things break down, they always break down at inopportune times. And we went with a slatted floor because there's no work to be done to keep it clean, to manage the effluent. And that also means that the bunkers, so underneath our slatted floors, we've got bunkers, so the effluent is stored. It means that on a daily basis the farmer doesn't have work to do with effluent storage, he doesn't have work to do with effluent irrigation. We empty them once or twice a year. So we've come up with a building which is actually, because of the design of the roof, is actually warmer inside over winter, it's cooler inside over summer, and it's a very simple building to operate.
Great, and Hamish, I hear that you're at the Fieldays again this year, so where exactly will you be located?
So we're inside the main pavilion. We have been for a number of years. Our site is PD 35, and you'll see Tom and Kathy, myself and Zoe, there'll be a whole number of us. Come along and say hello.
So Hamish, I'm sure you've captured a lot of attention from the dairy farmers out there, so how can they get in contact with you?
Well, it's quite simple really. We're online on www.herdhomes.co.nz, or if they jump on the phone, it's 0800 Herd Homes.
Great, nice and simple.
It is. Amy, I'd like you to meet Rex Butterworth.
Hi.
This is whose property we've been on today. Now Rex has got two shelters here. He built this one, we finished up in March 2013. This one we finished up in Christmas 2013.
Great, so how are you enjoying your herd home shelters?
We're absolutely thrilled. They've provided quite dramatic increases production-wise, economically, and environmentally we're getting the same sorts of results. Stress-wise, it's brilliant. The levels are also dramatically reduced, so yeah, we're thrilled to bits.
Great, well it's simple really. Happy cows equal a happy farmer. So for the best solutions for your farm, visit the team at Herd Home Systems. Stay tuned as after the break we head on through to Ebbett Prestige and StockRock. Now, Volkswagen hold a huge presence at the Fieldays, and this year will be no different. So our film crew caught up with the very knowledgeable Pete Ritchie for a test drive of the Amarok. Let's take a look.
Hi there, I'm Pete Ritchie. I've had 35 years of four-wheel drive experience in utility vehicle ownership. I've done over 200,000 Ks in an Amarok, and so far it's proved to be the toughest, most comfortable vehicle I've owned. Not only tough, but as I'm getting older, I want some creature comforts as well. And this Amarok gives me both. Durable, tough, and very, very comfortable. Right, we're going to have a look around the Amarok. We're going to start with the profile, how wide it is, and the features that make it really stand out from the crowd. So if we've got a nice wide stance, we also want to have lots of stability down here and a very solid bottom. So we've got big solid chassis rails, no cake tin under here, solidly protected, and nothing below the chassis line. Now that low centre of gravity and low chassis line comes about because of the rear suspension design, which is unique in the industry. Let's go and have a look at that. Now the reason that you see utes with spring with the rear of the vehicle hanging down is simply because they can't have a big spring pack, otherwise it'd be too high. You can see these are absolutely massive, and you can see that that chassis line is really, really low. Let's go around the back and have a look at the tow bar assembly. Now this tow coupling here is pretty special. It mounts directly into the chassis. It doesn't need a big subframe, because as soon as you add a big subframe, that just adds weight, which reduces the amount of load you can carry on the back. Right, let's have a look at this little puppy. Lockable, waterproof, lockable, and extremely large. Now this tailgate, pretty special. It's just with the Amarok, they keep coming up with these things that you think, wow, that's cool. Now one of the things about using your ute is you're in and out of the back of this thing maybe 20, 30 times a day. That equates to getting worn out. This is by far the lightest tailgate in the industry. It's not light because it's weak. In fact, it's rated to take 250 kgs. You could run your quad bike up onto here, and it's 1/2 metre long, 500 mil high, which means that you get a 1/2 metre extra deck if you've got to carry a sheet of ply between those wheel arches. And remember, they're wide and can take a whole pallet, a Euro pallet in there. It's all very well having a big deck and a solid chassis and big springs. You've got to be able to have some grunt to make it all happen. And this is where it all does happen. We're talking about 132 kilowatts and 420 newton metres of torque. Now, as an A-grade diesel mechanic, this engine skids my wheels. 2 litres of power, common rail, firing the injectors up to 5 times, requiring a service only every 20,000 kilometres, that's 20,000 Ks, that means less service costs, is pretty flaming efficient, isn't it? And it uses less fuel to do what it has to do as well. The most fuel efficient in its class. Right, if you can't get comfortable in an Amarok, you can't get comfortable in a ute. It comes in 2 different models. It comes in a manual, which is a part-time 4-wheel drive system, drives on the rear end, put it into 4-wheel drive, you have low range, and it's a traditional ute drive system. This is the ute that is the game changer, really. What we have is an 8-speed automatic gearbox. This is the 8-speed that's used in the Porsche Cayenne, the Audi Q7, and the Touareg. The 8-speed automatic drives all 4 wheels. So we're talking full-time 4-wheel drive through a Torsen centre diff. That's a mechanical centre diff, which means that you never need to put it in and out of 4-wheel drive. If you're towing a boat, you're in a ski field, or you're in some serious stuff off-road, you just drive it. You can lock it into 3 different modes. You've got the ordinary old drive mode, you've got a special mode which adapts for more high-performance type driving, and then you've got 8-speed Tiptronic manual. You've kind of got everything in the one box. It's absolutely changed the way that I operate my vehicles now. I'm Pete Ritchie, and this is the amazing Amarok.
Most farmers are constantly on the lookout for ways to improve productivity and profit on their farm. So when we heard of an industrial mineral product that is easy on cow's hooves, we wanted to take a closer look. We are currently at a farm that is in the process of having StockRock applied. So let's find out more from StockRock Product Manager, Shane Smith. Hi Shane. Now first of all, tell me, what is StockRock and why is it an advantage to farmers?
What we're here for is generally to help prevent lame dairy cows. So we work on cleaning up the existing farm race and producing a surface which is easy on the cow's hooves, and it improves the cow flow into the cow shed.
Great, okay, so can you talk me through the procedure?
First of all, we work through the excavation of the muck on the cow race. We scrape all the muck off and we excavate around the cow shed entrance and exit. So we have a thick layer of rock which goes into those areas. And then we proceed down the farm race and scrape off the grass edges so that when the StockRock is completed, is that the water will shed off the farm race and into the paddock. And then after that we bring the StockRock in and we start laying it. There's a couple of important factors, which is the thickness of the StockRock. Is we usually work on a 125mm compacted thickness. So it goes in at 180 loose and then it compacts down to 120. And it's really important that we have this 5-inch to 125mm wearing layer over the existing farm race. And the reason we go that thickness is because the durability is really important. and in most cases the StockRock will last up to 5 years if it's laid properly.
Now Shane, what is it about the minerals that's good for the cow's hooves?
Well, what we're preventing is the blue stones or any hard stones coming onto the cowshed yard and coming in contact with the cow's hoof. What happens first is that the stones are dragged onto the concrete, onto a concrete cowshed yard or a feed pad or a cattle underpass, anywhere where there's concrete or hard surfaces, and the bottom of the cow's hoof gets a bruise. And if you can imagine an apple where you can't push your finger into a nice firm apple, but if with a stone bruise, it works very similar to a cow's hoof, is that once the bruise is formed, a sharp stone will penetrate that bruise and end up being stuck in there and need medical treatment.
Great, so how can farmers get in contact with you to discuss this further?
There's a couple of ways. We operate an 0800 number, which is 0800 88 55 55, and that comes directly to my cell phone, and I do all the quotes and advice. Or they can go through our website, which is www.stockrock.co.nz, and on the website we have a calculator, or a StockRock calculator, which is really important for farmers, and they can go onto the website and they can measure out the length and the width of their race and put the details in. It's got two options there. One is the first 200 metres from the cowshed yard, which is the most hard wearing area, and they can put those details in and it will supply a figure for the 100mm StockRock. And if it's an area after the first 200 metres away from the cowshed, then we have a 65mm product which works really well for further away from the cowshed. The difference between those products, the StockRock 100mm will cover 170 square metres per truck and trailer load, and the 65mm will cover 250 square metres per truck and trailer load. So the bigger material is used in that first 200 metres from the cowshed, and it's more hard wearing.
Wow, Shane, this is looking great. So the farm race is completed and ready to use?
That's right. So what the farmer's gained here is that previously he had a sand race. So when it poured with rain, the race surface would go very mucky. So what he's got here now is a well cemented surface. So the race is not going to deteriorate like the sand base that did before. So also the big part of the problem the farmer had before is that within the sand base that he had, there was a lot of hard particles which ended up being carried onto the concrete and then creating a lameness issue, whereas with the StockRock you can see behind us, it's a well cemented surface. So the first thing the farmer will notice because of that well cemented surface is that the cow flow into the cowshed improves dramatically, just because there's no loose stones on the surface. And also, if the particles of StockRock, when the races are new, are carted onto the concrete, they break down like chalk, whereas the harder particles previously ended up creating a stone bruise and then obviously an infection in the cow's hoof. So what we've got here now is we've covered the race from fence to fence. We haven't just gone down the centre, and it is a really good, well cemented surface from side to side, and therefore he'll have no lameness issues in the future.
Great, thank you very much, Shane. So there you have it, StockRock, the ultimate surface for your farm races. Well, if those businesses are anything to go by, it looks like the National Field Days for 2014 is one not to be missed. So make sure you take a closer look at those businesses at the Field Days this year. Now, and also I'm hoping you won't need it, but remember the Salvation Army missing persons tent. Now next week we are going to be on location at the Field Days, which is going to be another great busy show. So make sure you tune in again. We'll see you then. Bye.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.